Most of the FRSC that they want to warehouse biometric data and all that. That is not their function. It's the function of the National Identity Management Commission. And that attempt is in violation of Section 4 of that Act, National Identity Management Commission Act, Section 15 of that Act, and Section 14 of that Act. They are the body statutorily empowered at the center to generate biometric data, and that's the body that is issuing national identity card and all that. And what all government agencies, including INEC, were supposed to do, basically.
Is it that each agency cannot have data for their own use?
They are not supposed to do that under the National Identity Management Commission Act. They are expected to interface with it. What should happen ordinarily is this: if you need biometric data, you go to that data bank with the NIMC and say that this is the data we need. Otherwise, there will be multiplicity of the process and so on and so forth.
What if at some point they're able to synchronize with this particular body which is in charge and are able to even add more to it by saying that
that's beside the point. It is not what of if they are, it is are they empowered to do so? An agency of government or a body cannot act anyhow. It has to act within the four walls of the statute establishing it. So it is not about what of if they synchronize. It's not about what of if they then help. The question is, are they empowered by law to do it? They are not.
It also doesn't matter if security is at stake here.
Look, if it matters that security is at stake, everybody will form his own police force. But Section 214 of the Constitution says that it is the federal government to establish one police force in Nigeria. Otherwise, the state will have formed their police force. Is security not an issue in Lagos State? So it is not about what is appropriate, it is about what is permissible under the law.
What's the place of the Transport Ministry in all of this?
Transport Ministry? Well, one would not know what the position of the Transport Ministry is, but I presume that the Transport Ministry, that's my speculation, is conniving at this. Why? Because the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria launched this. And being the head of the executive, I expect that all the executive arm of government, they are together on this point. That's my speculation. I hope to be
but
right.
Look at some of these comments also, because they say at that launch that the upgraded license and plate numbers are now interlinked and will henceforth be connected with each individual in order to help the FRSC track all road offenses and monitor the driving behavior of all vehicle owners. In other words, they just want to improve.
That is also not correct. I've told you, I didn't christen FRSC. FRSC. It is presumptuous for FRSC to think that it has the mandate to patrol all the highways in Nigeria. The law says it has no such power. The Court of Appeal has said it has no such power that restrict yourself to federal highways alone. The Court of Appeal in a decision said, look, by the combined effect, by the community reading of Section 16 of the Federal Road Safety Commission Act, they said item 63 on the exclusive legislative list and Section 28 subsection 1 and 2 of the Federal Highways Act, Federal Road Safety Commission, stay on federal rules alone. So for you now to assume that the Federal Road Safety Commission is in a position to generate a process like this, to monitor traffic offenses on all the roads, is wrong.
But how do they even monitor the traffic offenses committed on federal roads?
Without that database.
How do they
monitor the offenses or the offenders on federal roads by themselves? Let's take, for instance, Lagos State alone. You hear when they're talking about road maintenance, how many roads the federal government alone has in Lagos. And you know, you can see how drivers drive in Lagos, how driving can be nightmarish, to put it, mildly. And the Federal Road Safety Commissioner, or the Federal Road Safety Corps, is worried about, we can't continue like this. We have to be able to instill discipline in drivers and be able to catch them and be able to know who is a first-time offender. This is how the person drives. We need a database to be able to manage all of this. And you say it's not within their purview? It's none of their business?
It's not their business. They don't have the power to do that.
So how do they do their job?
How do they do their job? They do their job by staying on federal roads and ensuring that there is safety there. And if you must ask me, we need to think out of the box. Look, let's even assume that the Federal Road Commission rose off this program, and Nigerians, just allow them to do it. They are not going to do anything. It's about generation of revenue. Look, you can't use plate numbers regardless of its reflectability to monitor anything, because what are they going to rely on? Their patrol marshals on the roads? Where are the CCTV cameras to capture in England, everywhere? Do you think that they rely on those kids that were arrested after they had looted the streets from their homes? How did they get them? You think it's by personal recollection?
But the CCTV will not do the job all by itself, because you have to trace people to somewhere. If you see a face, you have to identify it.
Yes. So is the Federal Road Safety Commission in charge of the CCTV cameras?
They are saying they need to have a database for vehicle users, and so if they can't do that, if that's what you're saying, who will do it?
Fine. The bodies that are meant to do this by law will do it. The state government. Look, we need to understand this. This is my schematic. My schematic is this: Nigeria is a federation. The Constitution pronounces it so. While state governments are agitating for federal police, can they see the interlink or the interconnection between what we are saying now, which offends against the principle of federalism, and their quest for state police, and so on and so forth?
We're talking about the position of the states and this matter. Where do they come in here, the states?
The states have the residual responsibility to generate road taxes. Rates from vehicle plate numbers and driver license are road taxes. Don't forget, before the advent of the Federal Road Safety Commission, the states were the ones, and their VIO, vehicle inspection officers, who will, test prospective drivers before issuing of licenses. As a matter of fact,
VIOs are operated by the states.
The states,
not the federal.
No, not the federal government. Vehicle inspection attached to the Ministry of Transport. Right? That was it. Is this whole craze for centralizing systems in Nigeria that led us to this whole idea that the states are too weak, they are too unserious to carry out responsibilities. So let's have an overarching federal agency that can do this. But even at that, when the Federal Road Safety Commission was established by the military, it was because of the concern for accidents on the road, particularly on federal highways. And that's why it's called Federal Road Safety Commission. It is commonsensical enough.
Well, anyway.
So what that presupposes is that Lagos State indeed can set Lagos State Road Safety Commission. I'm telling you, or your state, Ogun State. Yes. And vice versa. No.
Well, someone here. Sorry, maybe you just take this now coming in from James. He said the FRSC Act needs to be expanded to widen their functions, but in the interim they should stay within the statutory confines. So, but you agree that it should be expanded?
No.
Why
no. Look, I think that maybe we stayed on the military for too long to not to understand the concept of federalism. Look, if we are aping what is going on in the United States, we are practicing their federalism and so on and so forth. Do you know that in the United States, each state even has its coat of arms, has everything and so on and so forth? I've alluded to this. The Lagos State today, had its own coat of arms. Yes, and those coats of arms are in courts as we speak and everywhere. The one with the carrier and palm tree and so on and so forth. And that doesn't make Lagos State less part and parcel of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, because federalism presupposes that we will have diversity and that each tier of government within its spheres of competence can govern the lives of the people within its own space. Therefore, this whole idea of saying, I take you back, before in this country, state native authorities had their prisons. It's true. It is this same idea of, prisoners are not safe in the hands of native authority people, native authority police. So we now have unified prison. Police, native authority police, no, let's have one police force. So let's have FRSC that will be the single authority to regulate traffic and provide security safety on all roads all over the country. Then why are we in a federation?
Oh, okay, fine. We finally get to the point where we have Federal Road Safety Corps and we have State Road Safety Corps.
Yeah.
The question will be, how do we centralize, or how do they share information?
There can
do
be
we have a
interagency cooperation and collaboration.
Of course there will be.
Even at the level of the federal government.
Yes.
Even at the level of the federal government.
Yes.
You know how many security agencies we have? Haven't you heard that they are clashing even at the federal level?
No, I'm not talking about the clash. I'm talking about the materials with which they will work. The fact that I live in Lagos State doesn't mean that I will not use a federal road, or I'm only going to be applying on a Lagos State road.
Exactly.
The question will be, if I am caught on the state road and I'm caught on the federal road, how do they get to centralize, or how do they get to share the information that they do not have? Since you say that they do not have the right to keep any information in the very first place.
I am not saying that they don't have the right to use information or give information.